Alrighty, hello. Are
Hello.
you having a good time tonight?
I was going to say, this is a fantastic show. I'm so
Oh,
impressed with you all. Yes.
I'm so glad. Now, Angela, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Oh, sure. So I work at the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, which is a state agency, and we work a lot on public policy. So legislation, laws that protect folks in Delaware. We have lots of committees. I work with senators and representatives and judges and all sorts of people. Members of the public come to our meetings and provide input. We do a lot of training and education, including about teen dating violence.
Oh, okay. That actually leads me into my next question, actually. How do you know if someone is in an unhealthy relationship?
Well, the first thing to know is that you may not know right away. It may not be obvious, but you may start to pick up on signs, especially if you're interacting with the couple together. It can look like moving very quickly, like really fast from one stage to the next, from just maybe going on a date to then suddenly being a couple and not dating other people. Saying I love you really quickly, a lot of gifts and flowers, and we call that love bombing
Yeah.
when there's a lot of that at the very beginning of a relationship. And then it can progress to things like, put downs, not really supporting each other. Most people think of dating violence as being physical abuse, but actually there's lots of other kinds of abuse too. It can be, excuse me, it can be financial when one person like buys a phone or shares an account with the person, but it can be lots of other things, controlling, a lot of jealousy and possessiveness, putting down the person's friends or trying to dissuade them from going and hanging out with friends or their family members. There's not a lot of consent, so it's not on an equal basis. One party kind of makes the decisions and has, I guess you would say, authority over the other. So it's not equal. Honestly, you all know a lot about it, about what healthy relationships should look like based on the videos and the materials on the table. This is a very wise and aware group, which I'm glad to see.
Also, I did wanted to ask, let's just say what you told me in a bad relationship, how is the friend supposed to, what does the friend, do they take action or do they have to support their friend's decision of their relationship?
Well, I always recommend that folks approach their friend gently, talk about what their concerns are. Observations using iMessages. I noticed that after you've hung out with so-and-so, you seem to feel really depressed or sad, or I've noticed that you're anxious more often. Really sharing, asking those open-ended questions. How are you? What's going on? How do you feel about your relationship? And trying to help them get connected with resources, with maybe people at school, adults in their life who are safe, who they trust, who they can talk to about the relationship, to just explore on their own. How do I feel about this? Is this healthy? Okay. You can also share information. Like I said, you seem to know and have a good understanding of what healthy relationships are, so you can talk about that with your friend. And they may not leave the person right away. It is helpful to continue to be a supportive person in their life. You may have to set boundaries, which is something that relationship is probably lacking, healthy boundaries. And you may have to set boundaries and not be there 100% of the time because you need health in your life too. But just letting them know you're not running away, you're still supporting them, you want to help them get connected to resources can make a big difference.
Funny that you say like kind of focusing on yourself, like your mental health, because I believe like the past few years, it seemed like I was focusing on my family and friends, and now, as of like this year, I'm focusing on myself a little bit more. But what are some ways you resolved conflict in your own relationships?
I really believe in always using fair fighting rules. I don't know if you're familiar with that idea. I mean, as human beings, we've experienced the full range of human emotions, right? And anger and frustration are normal. It's how we express how we're feeling about that. So the first thing I recommend is trying to go inward and figure out, what am I actually upset about? Because sometimes we start the conversation about one thing and then suddenly it becomes about 3 other things, right? So what's at the core of what I'm upset about? And then those rules involve one person talks at a time. We talk about one issue at a time. We're not interrupting each other, which I know is hard to do when you're angry and frustrated, but that's really important, is listening. Use your good listening skills and hear the other person out. Always using I statements so that you're owning how you feel. I feel X when this happens. That owns that you know those feelings are yours, and it's not throwing blame at that other person, which is going to maybe shut things down in the conversation. Being able to take a pause and allow timeouts and breathers if you or the other person are getting too heated. And then finally, approaching it with the understanding that we're both working toward an end goal of some kind of good outcome, whether that's a compromise or a shared decision that we both can agree on.
And I wanted to ask you if you can give advice about relationships to the people in this room and on YouTube, what advice would you give them?
Somebody said it in one of the videos as I thought about what to say to you. I'm generally not a big fan of advice. I'm a big fan of talking through with the other person so that they come to the decision that's right for them. But what I wanted to say is to trust your gut. Just like you said in those videos, when your gut is telling you something's not right in this situation, even if it's your physical awareness that my stomach's really tight or my heart is pounding or just something feels off, or your inner voice knows what you want, knows what feels right to you, and it just doesn't in this situation, to listen to that and to try to take that scary, vulnerable step of talking to somebody else about it when it's happened so that you can perhaps work through and make good decisions about what your gut is telling you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming out here tonight, and thank you for talking with me about this, and to everyone here.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much.